What's good, people? Samurai Ali from Fight Talk. I'm delighted to be joined on the phone by Paul Semtex Daley. Paul, how are you, mate?
I'm good, thank you very much. Tired, but good.
Now, I know, obviously, I see you training very hard. You just got back from Thailand, I believe.
Yeah, I was out there for 2 weeks. One of my friends managed to arrange like a nice package for me, and I'm always looking for different ways to improve my game and different experiences. Now, obviously, I've been to Thailand before, but I've never been to train at Fairtex. And, you know, it was a good experience with good coaches and nice facilities.
Your next fight is booked for the 4th of November. Is it Derek Anderson, yeah?
Yeah, Derek Anderson. I think he normally competes at lightweight. Is coming up to challenge me. But, you know, he's a big lightweight. He's 6'1". He's a tough guy. He's only lost twice, and whenever I fight these guys without the name, you know, it's always a big opportunity for him. So, you know, he's just as dangerous as any other fight. You know, so this is his big opportunity to take out a name in the sport. So it's a serious fight. Yeah,
of course. Now, obviously, you're coming off a loss, a really tough fight with Lima. So were you obviously now we've got you know, it's an interesting division. Rory McDonald's come over to Bellator. There's a lot of there's a lot of talk about the division. Is it, you know, were you after a bigger name at this moment in time, or do you think coming off the loss you have to put these younger guys and these prospects in line first before you get the big fights again?
Yeah, you know, I'm just happy to be fighting first and foremost. And for me, obviously, I would like to fight a bigger name. But, you know, it was a hard fight against Douglas Lima, and maybe a fight of that magnitude or level might not be what I need now, especially after the end of a long year. You know, I've been fighting a lot. So, not that I'm taking this fight lightly, but this is for me, as far as you know, being a thinking fighter, this is probably a better fight for me now than having one of the big names like Rory McDonald. But, you know, coming into 2017, I don't expect another fight like this. So, you know, I'm expecting the big names. Hopefully, chase a Rory McDonald's, Douglas Lima rematches, challenge for the belt and stuff like that. So, just got to take it as it comes.
What did you think about Rory coming over to Bellator? Obviously, it was well documented he was becoming a free agent, and I mean, obviously, it does a lot for Bellator that they're getting big names over in the free agency market. What were your thoughts on it, Paul?
So I think it's a smart move by Rory. You know, financially, I know that Bellator are going to be looking after him better than the UFC was, as far as, you know, getting his name out there more. I don't think he's going to be able to do that. As far as getting his name out to a different audience, then definitely, because Bellator does have a different audience, and you think it's not, obviously you get crossovers from the UFC, but we've got our own little band of followers as it is. I see where it's coming. He's going to come for the championships, and then for me, I think he's probably going to go back into free agency and probably find his way back across the UFC. I think it's a tactical move. You know, the division's not very deep in welterweight or middleweight at Bellator, so I see him coming over and trying to take us out, get the belts and bounce back. But I don't think it's going to be that easy for him. So I could see his thought process, but it might not work out for him as he planned.
Yeah. Now, obviously, you mentioned your division. There's a guy, Michael Venom Page, who's obviously he's talked about a hell of a lot. I mean, I've followed his career for a long time. Do you think, first of all, what are your thoughts on him? And secondly, is it time Bellator gave him a harder opponent and more of a push now?
I think a harder opponent, yeah. I think as far as more of a push, I think they're pushing pretty hard as it is. But yeah, definitely, I think it is due a tougher opponent. For me, personally, I didn't know how old Michael was. I didn't look at the stats and that. I thought, okay, I understand that. See his thought process. He's building up his record, getting his feet into the game, coming from point scoring, and just trying to build up his experience in the division. But you know, he's 30 years old. I thought he was like, you know, a bit younger than that. And so then definitely now I think time for him to be, trying to carve his name amongst, fighters with a bit more of a reputation or caliber. But Michael's a very good fighter, and he presents problems for everybody because he's so unorthodox. I think a matchup with him against Rory McDonald would be a tough fight for Rory, seeing how he dealt with guys like Wonder Boy. But yeah, I think Michael's due a name of caliber.
What about you? Would you fight him?
I've said I wouldn't fight Michael unless it's for a championship belt or some kind of number one contenders. Just because I think for the UK market, it's that strong of a fight that it's not really a fight just to have.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it has to be worth something for both me and Mike. So obviously I'd fight him because I'm a fighter, but the timing has to be right, and it has to be for the right opportunities. Of
course. Now, talking about UFC, obviously it was a big UFC event in the UK over the weekend. Michael Bisping, Jimmy Manuwa, What did you get to see the card yourself?
Yeah, I stayed up. Well, I got up. Having a young daughter, and that I've got two kids. One of them's a bit sick right now, but she woke me up, and I just thought I just need to ride it out and just watch the show. So I watched it. Jimmy Manuwa, is one of my boys. I'd like to say that he's come up, he's trained with me a few times, and I've known him through the sport for a while now. So it was good to see him perform well. I think that was the kind of stoppage win that he needed. We all know Jimmy's got the KO power, but it hasn't really been seen yet. He's been winning the fights in the UFC, but no one's really seen that stoppage that they wanted to see. So it was nice to see him get that.
That left hook was straight out of the Semtex catalogue as well, I think.
Yeah, it was. For me, I think that was one of Jimmy's very best performances because he showed his patience. He had him rocked. He sort of lined him up for the shot, and he took his shot. It was. I thought his first round wasn't very good, but his second round he was on point a lot. Bisping again, the type of performance I thought he was going to give. He's durable, he's fit. He did well, and the other fight that I was interested in was Brad Pickett again, a guy that I sort of came up on the circuit with, and I was unfortunate to see that fight, but it's all part of the game.
Yeah, Brad One Punch Pickett, obviously he's been, like you say, around like yourself a long time, and to see him he's got he's doing his promotional thing now. He's got his own shows in the Rise of Champions in Essex this coming Saturday, so there's a lot more in his future, but he's a great guy. Now, talking about yourself, Paul, I think you've been a pro for 13 years. You've had 54 fights. You've fought everywhere, everyone. What more do you still want to achieve?
Well, I'm deep in a contract with Bellator now, so I'm just going to fulfill my duties with this contract, create the opportunities and take these opportunities, and then the opportunities for the names in the division and for title opportunities. So, over the next 18 months, we'll see if I'm given those fights and the outcome of those fights. I'm training still. I still train extremely hard. I love the sport, so my focus is just on winning and getting the names and getting the belts, and then we'll see what happens from there. But yeah, I've been in the game for a long time. 33 years old now. I said I wouldn't fight past 35, and as it is, I don't see myself fighting past 35. So I'm guessing I'm going to be with Bellator to the end of my career, as I've got a long-term contract with them.
So you're definitely a veteran. I mean, does it feel weird that you've been in the game that long? You're considered a veteran, and obviously everyone knows you come to fight and you're a tough guy. But I think the veteran word can also sometimes be detrimental, as in people look at it as someone past it and stuff, and you're far from that.
I do. I don't really like to use the term veteran as much. I'm experienced and I've been in the sport a long time. I'm definitely not past it. I've been in with and competed against the toughest guys in my division, and I'm still capable of doing that. Guys that I've fought and now champions of major promotions like to really take me to the next level. And I'm not a quitter, so until I get myself there, get a big win, get a big title, then, you know, my journey's not over. So it is what it is.
Now, I've had quite a few questions sent to me on Twitter when I mentioned I was going to be interviewing you. There's a lot of people. First of all, everyone wants to know, why do you not have Twitter? The amount of followers that you could have and so on, and people want to follow you. Obviously, on your private, personal Facebook, you put up a lot of training pictures and so on. The first question is, why don't you have Twitter?
I don't know. I'm just a Facebook person. Although I post on Facebook every now and again, it's normally to do with the sport 9 times out of 10 are to do with some kind of business opportunities that I'm trying to promote or whatever. I'm not really a social media type of person. I think that I'm a bit cynical about social media, which is a bit hypocritical considering that I use social media. But, you know, for me, Facebook is enough. It's more than enough for me. So either Twitter and the Instagram and all that for other people.
Okay, another question. Who's the hardest hitter you fought?
Probably before, I would have said Ross the Boss Mason, which is an old UK name, before I fought Douglas Lima. But now Douglas Lima punches pretty hard. Definitely. Probably Douglas Lima is probably the hardest puncher that I faced.
Douglas Lima. Now, then another one. Dream fight for the remainder of your career. I mean, surely it's got to be a Koscheck rematch, hasn't it?
No. For the money, then maybe. But for me, I'm just like I say, I'm going for that next level stuff. So I'm trying to get the Koreshkovs, who's a champion, your Rory McDonalds, your Lima. They're the top 3 fights that I'm really interested right now. And then we'll see what happens with Venom Page, if he becomes champion or if he takes out Rory McDonald or whoever he should fight after he fights Gonzalez. But for me, I'm just, like you say, I've been in the sport for a long time, not calling myself a veteran, but I need big fights now. Even though I'm fighting this guy now, I don't know what his name is. Shit.
Derek Anderson.
Even though I'm fighting Derek Anderson now, like I say, that was just more of a sensible choice by me, considering that next year I'm coming after those top 3 names that I said, your champions, which currently is Koreshkov, your Lima rematches, your Rory McDonald. So, they're the dream matchups for me right now.
Okay, another one was, who are your 2 favourite fighters, MMA fighters across all promotions that you enjoy watching?
I don't know. It's a tough one. I like Michael Chandler, who's with Bellator at the moment, the lightweight champion. He seems like a pretty entertaining fighter. Lee McGeary, another one from Bellator. And I'd have to say Conor McGregor, as far as, you know, the build up to the fight and drawing interest and performance-wise, I think is pretty entertaining as well.
Yeah, he definitely gets bums on seats, doesn't he?
Definitely. And you know, he talks a talk, but then he walks a walk as well. You know, he's not. He seems to be very real. Very, you know, he is as he is type character.
Of course. Now, from my point of view, I'll just end out. Anyone who knows me and knows how much I love MMA will attribute you to the part of the reason I got into it. My first Cage Rage show all them years ago, when you were just sort of, I think, early 20s fighting for those titles, and your style has always just captured my imagination, and you're a big part of the reason I got into MMA. So from me to you, thank you very much, and I appreciate everything you do.
I appreciate that. No, I appreciate the support. Thank you very much for that, and thanks for the interview as well.
No, thank you for your time, mate. Honestly, it's been an honour talking to you, Paul.
Nice one, mate. I appreciate it.
You take care. Good luck next month.
All right.